Good morning. Well, hello. Good morning, everybody. I hope you guys are good. Oh, it's Monday morning. Back to the work week, I guess. But we still have a lot to do. A lot of things that I'm excited for the game. So let's get into it today. Let's see how much we can do in these 2.5 hours before I have to go to work and do all the other stuff, right? Okay, let me go to the coding section. There we go. Oh, where am I? There we go. Oh, no, not that one. Not that one. Nice. Okay, yeah, sorry. Fooling around with my OBS. Okay, let's just see if everything's working the way it should be. It seems good. I'm just gonna pause these because I don't need playback. That's fine. And I can also, I suppose, minimize this one. Oh no, it went black. Okay, there we go. Here are the things. Okay, so what did we do yesterday? So yesterday I ended with making these nice little I keep wanting to the lizard camps, right? So the lizards now have a little home where they spawn from, as you can see, and there's another one over here. Now I can put more. I might put another variant of the camps, maybe. These might just be the normal camp where the basic lizards spawn, right? Okay, and we were fooling around with the knockback effect and all kinds of other cool stuff. We'll see if the stats for these characters are back to something reasonable. 15 damage, it's not quite reasonable. Let's make the chicken do 5 damage again. Oh, we can make the ranger do 5 damage also. Okay. Yeah, so we have a couple of bugs that we need to get well, we need to fix a couple of bugs. So when I was just showing off the game yesterday to my wife and some of my friends, I realized that some stuff is not so nice. So let's go to our to-do and let's just add everything we need to do. So make buildings in camps spawn, make camps. Okay. So I'm just going to add one over here and I'm going to call this one, this is the arrow gets stuck in lizard and does multiple damage ticks. Okay, so basically what's happening is sometimes when you're shooting with the ranger, right, the one with the arrows, the arrow would actually whoa. Okay, that won't happen with the first one. Whoa. Okay, we're just doing 2 damage now, apparently. It's not a lot. But it's easy to see, actually, when we're doing less damage. So, okay. I'm going to try and show you. So you'll see that I'll shoot, and then one of the lizards just kind of get multiple ticks of damage. There we go. You see that? There's another one. Now, so what's happening there is, if we go to our arrow projectile, we'll just see what it does. Right, so the arrow projectile itself as a sphere collider. Okay. So the sphere collider is this little tip over here. And then you have this massive collider just for the damage, right? Now, when the damage collider hits something, it obviously does damage. But there's a cooldown for enemies taking damage, right? So they'll only take 1 damage or 1 tick of damage. Like if it's 5, they'll take 5 damage and etc. And then the arrow passes through them and they don't take another tick of damage, right? When the tip, however, hits an enemy, it gets stuck. Right, okay, so there's a couple of things going on here you might remember, but first of all, this is quite a large sphere to apply damage to. Now, the reason for that is just because it felt better. Right, what happens is, you know, when you're shooting, it looks like you could be hitting something, but you just don't. And that feels bad, right? So we want this to be more gracious with its hitbox. So that's the one problem. And then also the arrow would fly over the head of these short little lizards. And that's also kind of an issue. So what we actually have is a capsule collider. This is just the top and the bottom of the capsule. And then anything enters this zone, it gets damaged. Because now it feels right. Okay. Good morning, Yumu. Well, I guess it's very late in the evening for you right now, hey? So, good evening. $10:38. That's still fine, right? It's not so bad. For me, that's incredibly late, though. Especially since I'm up at 4 in the morning. I wouldn't survive. I'm familiar with both 12 and 24 hours. Yeah, I can't say, yeah, we use both interchangeably. 24 hours, that's military time, right? Okay. So when this thing hits a character, one of the lizards eventually, because the arrow falls, so it always hits one of the further away lizards. You get stuck and then damage gets applied 20 times. They also call it military time. Probably borrowed that from America, to be honest. Okay, so let's see. So what we want to do is we either want this arrow to not get stuck in an enemy, which I think might be better. Yeah, I think that's the way I'm gonna go with this. So arrow projectile. Exclude player, apparently. Enemy as well. So that should have fixed it. Let's see. If this thing cannot collide with an enemy, okay, it's obviously gonna collide with this. Die. Okay. Let's go to the bigger groups. There they come. Now this is one of those where you have to It seems like we have more penetration now, but it never gets stuck in one of the back little enemy guys. Yeah. So the arrows now fly until they hit the ground, I guess. Let's see, can we see arrows on the ground? There's one in the tree. Getting mobbed. Let's see. Arrow project. Oh yeah, no, I remember what's happening here. Once they... Geez, like it. Okay. I think they're in the terrain now. Where are these? Let's see, I'm getting mobbed over here. Maybe they also don't... Okay, but this works. I don't necessarily need the arrow to stick around. And I could always change my mind in the future, right? So here's an arrow. Yeah, okay, but this is stuck in a tree, right? This happens still, that's fine. Okay, I'm gonna call it there. I'm gonna say that we've successfully fixed that problem. Okay, that was an easy one, actually. Let's go back to this to-do list. Yeah, so we did that. Now, we made the goblin camps. Ugh. The lizard camps. I'm just gonna make these things goblins, I'm telling you. But now we have to make it destroyable, and we need the player to actually collide with stuff in general, right? So the player currently is just kind of walking through things, right? And the reason for that is because the player movement is handled a little bit differently, right? So if we look at the player, okay, the player itself is not anything, but the characters inside of the player, their rigid bodies are, well, they're not kinematic, so it's not that exactly, that's the problem. But what is happening is, when we move the player in our player movement script, it is... Where is the player movement script? Oh, there we go. It is literally just doing a update of the transform position. Right, so there's a couple of ways to move characters, and this is one of the ways. And this kind of feels good, right? It's nice and responsive and everything like that. You don't need to worry about damping and things, so your character can move and turn around and do all kinds of things very quick. It feels good. And this is what most people expect movement to be, I think. Another way of doing it is through adding a acceleration or a velocity to the rigid body that is attached to your characters. Now, if you want to put a vehicle or something in there, that's fine. That's normally how it would go. But you could imagine that if I move with using an acceleration and I want to quickly change direction, it's going to feel very floaty, right? It's not going to be... You're not going to just turn around. You're going to be like kind of floating in the direction you were going, and then eventually you start turning around. And for a car, that makes sense because, you know, that's how cars work, and it's a very big thing with a lot of inertia. So it can feel like that, and nobody will be bothered. But if your character does that, it's going to be feeling weird. So, with that in mind, we need to do something completely different in order for the movement to not do collision, or to check for collision. So, basically, if I have this right, so I've done a tutorial about 4 months ago where I did this. Let me take some coffee in here. So there's two things you can do. You do a capsule cast or a ray cast or something like that, and this thing goes in front of you a little bit, and it basically checks if there's anything there, and if there's something there, then it sets your velocity vector to 0, right? So in the end, when I do my transform, right, so we have this calculation that's done, right? check if movement input exists. Then we have a move direction, etc, etc, and we do all these things, right? We also check, where is this else coming from? Is this else connected to this if? No. Oh, I just check. Oh, okay. Okay, so this is basically, are we moving? Yes. Move. If we are targeting while we are moving, then obviously we move in the direction of the movement vector, so our arrows or whatever, but we look in the direction of the mouse. If we are not targeting, we're just running in the direction of our input, so whatever our input vector is from our arrow keys. Otherwise, if basically we don't have movement, so we're standing still, we still need to look into the direction of our target. Yes. So there's a couple of ways we can do this, right? Our move direction is every time handle movement is called, which is called on an update, depending on whether or not we are dead, right? So if we are dead, nothing happens. We handle movement. Before we set the move direction, we could ask, well, we can do it a couple of ways, right? We can ask if the direction we want to move in has an obstacle in the way, then set the move direction to 0. So you override whatever the input is back to 0. So basically what we do is we get this direction, we cast a capsule a little bit forwards, and if that capsule is colliding with something in the world, we say, okay, wait a minute, there's something in the way, set the movement direction back to 0. Right, and then basically when we get to this check, it basically is going to go and say, oh, the movement direction is 0 now, so it skips this whole section, and it just goes to this part where we aren't going to be moving, we're just going to be looking around. Okay, and we also set the velocity to 0 over here, and only if this is true, then we set it back to something else. Okay, so that seems kind of straightforward. So we could just do a capsule cast, I would say, over here. Alright, let's try. Let's go. Okay, so there's a couple of things. So capsule cast, I'm just going to pull up some Unity docs here because I do not remember. Unity. Okay, I'll show you guys now. Unity docs. I need the scripting API reference stuff. And then I want capsule cast. Okay, physics capsule cast, right? Now we're doing a capsule because that obviously encompasses the whole volume of our character. Where something like a sphere cast could work, but it might miss some details. Ray cast as well. Then you have corner problems. Okay, so let's see. So we need, when we cast the capsule, we need 0.1, 0.2, so that's fine. So that's the top and the bottom of the capsule. The radius, that's also not a problem. The direction. Okay, so that would be our move direction. And our maximum distance. So we'll just make this a very short distance so that we don't, overdo it. Okay, and now layer mask. Okay, this is if we want to try and ignore certain colliders. I'm not going to worry about that one right now. I might have to. And then trigger interactions. I don't worry about that either. Okay, and this thing is a bool, so it returns a boolean, which is true and false, which is exactly what I want, right? Okay, so let's... That seems pretty straightforward, so let's go for it. So there's two ways. I guess I could create the boolean here. So I could do bool... what do I call this? Collision cost. Let's just say collision cost equals physics dot capsule cost. Okay, we need... Alright, so this is 0.1, so I'm thinking this is just transform dot position, right? So that would be on the floor. Then 0.2 would be somewhere up. So let's just go well, we need to add a new. This is gonna be okay. New vector 3. And we do, this is kind of annoying, but transform dot position dot x. So the y is the one we want to add to. So let's just add 1f for now. So we'll see how that looks. And then finally transform. Yeah, transform dot position dot z, right? Because the z doesn't change. Okay. We have our second point. Now we need the radius. Just make that 1f as well. I've no idea if this is going to work. And then finally direction, we make this the move direction. Okay. Which also means we should maybe get the move direction first before we do any of this, right? So we get a move direction, we check some stuff, and then we say if if not collision cost, so basically if it's false, which means it hasn't hit anything, right? We can simply say that our if we hit something with our collision cost, we want our move direction to be equal to, I think I can do this, vector3.0. Okay, so basically we set our movement direction back to nothing, which means it's like getting no input, basically. So then it will skip this, which is causing us to move, and we would basically just be back to square one. Okay, so somehow this could work. Now, what I also want to do, just above this, and this is for visualization, because I never know how these things are scaled and stuff like that. I might be doing this ridiculously too big. So the arrow projectile damage is actually a good place to go find this gizmo. Yeah, basically I want this layer movement. So let's just drop this in here, color dot, make it red. So all my things are red by now. Okay, so we're drawing a wire sphere, two of them, but you can't draw a wire capsule. We'll just make this 1F. Okay, then we're drawing another one, which is, this should be plus 1F. And the radius here is just 1F. Right, so effectively this will do exactly what this does in terms of the size, and we can have and it will scale accordingly, etc. So we can have an idea of what the collision cost is actually looking like, right? Okay, we save it and we go check. Okay, so here we can see on the player what the collision cast is doing. Okay. So this is what the capsule would look like as well. So 1F is probably too small for the collider. Okay. I think if I play this, we'll actually see it moving, maybe? Let's see. Let's just play. I just want to see if that red thing is moving. In the game, show the gizmos. Okay, select just the knights. It's fine. Okay. Oh, the gizmo doesn't move. Yeah, that's fine. The gizmo won't move. So we stuck. We almost were not stuck. So we stuck because this thing is obviously in the ground. Right, so we should exclude the ground maybe. So we do need layers. Okay, so let's just go back to documentation. Just want to see how that works. So we need to create a layer mask. Can I do a layer mask that excludes things? Let's see. We can create a layer mask. Yeah, that's fine. Now this is where I probably need to, because I've done this before, but I can't do an exclusionary layer mask, it seems like. So I just need to set up my layers correctly, actually. Yeah, because I need to set up which layers that thing is colliding with. Oh, that's something I do all the time with the other characters and things. But if you look, like here, we have a walkable layer for the trees. Oh, maybe that's what I do. I just make it a walkable. Because these props for our camps, if you look at them, the ones that currently the nav mesh agents are avoiding are the walkable ones as well. So I could actually just use the walkable layer. Yeah, building one. I guess we have to go in here and look for the big tent as like separately. Yeah, that one is walkable. The only problem is I think the floor is walkable. Yeah, so we still have the floor as a problem. Okay, enemies, they are not walkable, right? They're enemies, right? Okay. So we need to move this up, potentially. I think that's one way of going about it. Right, so the middle point of our sphere needs to be kind of slightly raised. Okay, that's not a problem. Let's go for it. Okay, so first of all, 1F is too small for the position of the Y in the first case. Okay, but we're going to change this now. So we'll have the new vector, we'll have to create a new vector for both because we need an offset. So it's not going to be just transform.position. It's a new vector in both cases. Okay. So the first one, maybe we do 0.55, right? Because 0.5, that would be the radius, but then it's still slightly touching. So let's just move it a little bit more. And then this could be 1.5 for the second sphere. Okay, we can still cast it. Casting at 1F seems a bit too much, so let's cast it 0.5 forwards into the move direction. Okay, and our move direction is always going to be straight into one direction. We're never going to go into the Y, so it can't cast up and down. Okay, So this should work already, but it might have some collisions with things we don't want, even on like the default layer. So we still need to set layer mask, but let's try without the layer mask even and see if it at least walks on. Hey, why am I struggling so much? If it at least walks. Oh, I didn't update the. Okay, let's just do that. So I just want this visual to actually be consistent with what I'm trying to visualize, right? Okay, so we don't have the transform like that. We have another vector. I made this one 1.5. Okay, so that should now be the same. Now it's unfortunate that we can't. There's no real good way of looking at these capsule costs. You need to draw a gizmo. And you can't draw the gizmo exactly the same way because there's no flippin' capsule gizmo. Okay, so let's see. So now it's lifted. It seems like we're still underneath the ground. Yeah, let me take a sip. Let's see if that's really the case or if my gizmo is just weird. Yep, no, that's definitely the case. Okay. So, how much more do we have to lift this now? That's kind of crazy. Wait, where is the radius actually? Oh, it is this one, right? 0.5F. Okay, let's just see. So maybe we make this 1. Okay, so that's also not quite what I wanted. Okay, I'm gonna make this come down. I need to stop doing it like that. Just show me this one. Okay. So we make this 0.5. I don't know why it looked so funny there. 0.5. 0.5. Okay, save. Yeah, that's a little bit better. But it might be just touching the surface here. So 0.55. Okay, now it's raised. Okay, obviously the upper body is not really colliding, only colliding the lower body, but that shouldn't be a problem, right? Most of the time it's the only thing that we need to check for realistically. Okay, so let's try. There might still be issues with that now that I think about it. Okay, chicken night. You can walk. You collided with something. But what? Is the floor not perfectly level? Okay, so this is... Okay. Yeah, this is... Wait, wow. S is a bit buggy. Okay, let's try 0.7 for the height. See if that's a better position. I could always, yeah, if I want to do this properly, I could set them as variables that I can change in the inspector, perhaps. What did we just collide with, actually? Okay, now I guess it's the colliders from these guys. Okay, let's put on the layer mask. That might change the behavior quite a bit. Okay, so for the layer mask, we need to define a new layer mask. Movement, or maybe we have? No, it doesn't seem like we have. Okay, so private layer mask, walkable layer mask. Okay, and we can set that at start, I think. And then we can say layer mask equals no, walkable layer mask equals. How did I do this again? Where did I do this again? This one, I just looked for a layer specifically. Is it the attack trigger? Get mask enemy. I think so. I think I used the overlap sphere here. Yeah. So it's literally just get mask, but we want the walkable mask. Okay, this should be walkable layer mask. Yeah, we'll get mask. Walkable, and we can just check in Unity. Make sure that is in fact the name of the mask, which it's kind of a problem, right? To be using. Okay, let's just see. It is walkable. Yeah, layer 9. Okay, so we got the layer mask. Walkable layer mask is, and it's set. Okay, so we can take that, and in our capture cast over here is the layer mask after the uh-oh, that's the problem. We didn't set a max distance. That'll be a big problem because it's casting this capsule all the way across the screen. Ah, jeez. And it's colliding with something I can't even see. Okay, and then we just need a layer mask here. That is it. So now we completely set. Yeah, this thing was throwing this collision cast to the moon, and it collided with something on the way, and then I would stop moving. Ah, jeez. Okay, fantastic. We figured it out. Forgot completely that you need to put a range there. Okay, so it should just be working way better right now. So now we're only checking a little bit ahead of the night. Okay, yeah, and we're also just checking for walkable. So if I walk into a tree, it's like, nah, you can't. You need to walk around the tree. Okay. Okay, so it's a bit not so lacquer. So maybe we should slide on the trees. Okay, I can still push past the enemies. That's not a problem. Jeez, these gizmos are insane. Yeah, so I can still push through them. And I can hit them. Now let's see over here. So I can't walk into that. I can walk over that. I can't walk into that. I can walk in here and out the other side. I can't walk over the pot or that. Can't walk over the fence. Okay, so I'm colliding with stuff. Now I'm hitting. Ah! That's satisfying. Okay, now let's stop that. Okay, so we might want to slide along. Oh, just need to get some coffee in me again. It's already cold. How is that possible? Guess that's 45 minutes for you. Okay. So I need to have it slide. A thermos mug, eh? Yeah, that's probably a good idea. Are they... Oh, okay, that seems... that seems a little bit problematic. I think I have we call them travel mugs, that you can take with you in the car. And I think it also has a little bit of a insulating effect. So it also keeps warm for much longer. So when you're in traffic and you spill some coffee on you, you can still burn yourself even an hour after you left home. So that's nice. Yeah. You also get those electric mugs I've seen. Or it's like the coaster is electric or something, and it keeps everything warm, like by actually keeping it warm, like it's got a little element in it or something. It seems a bit overkill though, I think. Bah, yeah. Okay. How am I gonna make this guy slide on things now? That's going to be way more complicated. I think I did... in the tutorial project we did this. Yes, but this was a long time ago now. What the hell? How the hell did we do this? No problem. No problem. You can just hang out. You don't have to type 24/7, I guess. Marvel Rivals. Which one is that? I don't even... There's two Marvel games that are pretty popular right now, right? This is the hero shooter one, hey. What's the other one I was thinking about? I think I was thinking... yeah, it gives me some Overwatch vibes. Oh, Marvel Snap. Oh, that's the card game, right? I remember now. The Overwatch one, yeah. The Overwatch one, but it seems better for some reason. It seems way better. Maybe I'm just nostalgic for the characters. That might be it. You see Wolverine, you're like, oh, yes, let's go. Oh, I remember looking at the characters. They're all super buff, especially the male characters. Even the ones that have no reason to be that buff. They're massive. Yeah, Blizzard is suffering from serious self-sabotage these days, unfortunately. And I mean, yeah, Blizzard was my childhood, man. Played. They lean into the power fantasy. Oh yes. Super buff characters. Nah, I mean, and that's why you're there, right? Like, you play a game because you want to escape from reality. You want to be that superhero for a bit. So why not be the buffest version of the superhero? Yeah, I think even now that I think about it, the one that was confusing to me was Iron Man. I think he was like huge. Yeah, I'm gonna Google this now. Marvel rivals Iron Man. Iron Man code? What? No, I just want to look at Iron Man. What's this? This is a wiki. Oh yeah, this does look pretty cool. But he's buff, right? You can clearly see he's buff. And I'm sure Iron Man is athletic, but this is a buff Iron Man. He put some padding into his suit, I guess. Oh geez, look at this. What suit is this? Blood Edge armor. Wow. That looks pretty dope. What's this? This is Superior Iron Man. This is flippin' cool. They probably have those microtransactions enabled, hey? Personal trainer. Potentially. But this is a nice suit. Let me guess. It costs 20 American bucks. Which is way too much money. In the battle pass. Okay. $20 to $30 for an outfit or a different suit. At least with Iron Man you get a whole new suit. What does Wolverine get? A different shirt. It's like you can play me with my jeans and tank top, or I don't know, just no shirt. Let's see, what other male characters are there? Wolverine should be Winter Soldier. Yeah, look at that guy. Adam Warlock. What is this? Van Helsing Vampire Hunter outfit. Ah, that's nice. Oh, that's pretty cool. Who's Jeff the Shark? I don't think I've ever heard of Jeff the Shark. Jeff the Land Shark, specifically. Where's this guy coming from? Shape shifting via PIM particles. He's in a comic. He's like one of those background characters. Team up abilities with Groot and Rocket. Namor. Okay, I guess Namor makes sense. Groot and Rocket. Why? Because he's an anthropomorphized shark, I guess. I don't know. Lore. Let's see. What's the lore like? No. This guy's just a mascot, let's be honest. He looks like a mascot. He's not buff like a mascot, though. Look how skinny Spider-Man is. What? This is a travesty. But I guess that's the aesthetic of Spider-Man, right? So he shouldn't be super buff. Let's see, Wolverine. Yeah, no, Wolverine's massive. Oh, that's pretty cool. Blood Berserker. Okay, now that's a nice outfit, right? They call it a costume, I guess. Where the hell am I now? Jeez, I'm just clicking links and I'm flying all over the page. Nah, but this looks very nice. Lone Wolf, Deadpool, and Wolverine. Isn't this just the classic like X-Men Wolverine outfit? Why do they call it Deadpool? I know why they call it Deadpool and Wolverine, right? It's trending right now. That movie. Well, that movie's old right now already in terms of movies, but yeah. Nah, it looks cool. Looks cool. I'm not into the Euro shooter thing, but looking at these characters, I almost want to go play it just because I like the characters. But yeah, I've never played Overwatch or any of the other Euro shooters, really. You know? Yeah. Yeah, I guess that's the thing. My friends are not into the hero shooter thing. Well, no, they kind of are. Not the competitive ones, though. They only play, like, Helldivers and, what's the other one? Space Marines. So it's PvE. You still have to be good, I guess, because it's difficult, but it's not competitive in the same way. I think the big problem in South Africa with shooters in general, and why I never got into them, is if you're playing a shooter and you're with high latency, you're gonna feel it, right? It feels very bad, and we don't really have a lot of service in South Africa. So there's very few of these big games that host a server in South Africa, or even close to South Africa. So we have to play on like European servers or Asian servers or something like that. They're very far away, so you sit with a latency of like 200 minimum milliseconds. And trying to play a shooter with 200 milliseconds of latency. And that's just your internet. That's on top of whatever latency you have with your setup, right? Input lag and stuff like that. It feels very bad. So we don't really get into it. And it's bad with all online games, but at least some places have local servers. Like I know Valve, they have local servers. So stuff like CSGO and Dota, for instance, they run very well. But yeah, CSGO is way too competitive. That's like that's next level competitive, that thing. Yes. I'm not going to get into that. That's a bucket of worms I'm not willing to invest in, that's for sure. Like in Dota, I played that before, but you don't do competitive. But Marvel Rivals is PvP, right? Let me open this other project that I did. I want to see what the hell I did with the sliding on surfaces, because I don't remember at all. Oh, I said Marvel Rivals is a PvP game, right? So it's inherently a little bit competitive. People take it seriously in some cases. Okay, let's see here. How the hell did this work? I guess I could put this one up here. So in our scripts folder, yeah, look how well this thing was flipping organized. I guess it's because I was following a tutorial and I was organizing all my stuff nice. Yeah. Oh, you don't play ranked? Ah, okay, I guess that makes a difference. If you go into ranked, then you're gonna find some serious tryhards. That's when they start threatening your mother and stuff like that, right? Good old gaming community, eh? Let's just see. Let's go click on the player in this thing. Player. Just player script. What the hell? Did we not have a movement script for the player? I guess not. This was a way simpler game. Okay, move distance. Okay, that's fine. Can move. Okay, and they use player height here. Okay, we checked specifically if we can move in the X. If we can move, we do those. Okay. So the way you calculate the movement is based on can move direction X not equal to 0, and if we cast this into our move direction X, I wonder if this is gonna work for me. Let's go see. I just want to see the game again. But what is this behavior? It's a toughie. Okay, the problem. Okay, so if I move up, I get stuck. If I move to the right or the left, that's not a problem. If I move to like the right and up, okay, I see. Yeah, so I want to move. If I only move to the right or the left, but if I move down and right simultaneously, I want to be able to slide out. Okay, okay. So I want to do something like this. I'm just gonna. Hello. Let's grab that. Put it over there. There's a reference. Steal some old code. Okay. So we have our collision cost, and we check whether or not we can move it or not. Okay. This is way more difficult now because we have a move direction and a I might have to refactor all of this movement stuff to get this to work nicely. Okay. Yeah, so we need to attempt movement in both directions separately, the X and the Z. This is not but complicated. I mean, this is not that bad. I want to do it in a way that I don't just, completely Ooh, okay. I just want the character to slide on surfaces, but I think I just figured it out. Okay, so we don't set this to 0 right away. Okay, so we basically check for collision and we're like, okay, wait, something's in the way. Now we check for different directions. So we check yeah, okay, so there's something in the way. What we want to do first is just check if we can move in X. Okay, so to check if we can move in the X direction, we basically have to make our movement direction just go to the X. Yeah, so we need a vector 3, and we call this move direction X, I guess. Yeah. Okay, and this would be a new vector because I need to set it now. A new vector 3. No. So we're only going to take our X component from our move direction, right? And the other two will be 0. Okay. So basically we're changing our move direction to only X. And now I guess we can do our collision cost again. Yeah. So now our collision cost will be equal to all of this stuff again. So let's just cast another collider. But we cast in the same position and everything. We don't cast it in that direction. We cast it to the X direction only. Okay, so our collision cast now does a thing. Okay, so our collision cast has been updated. And now what we can do is we can say, so we cast it in the X direction, whichever way, and we can do this check again, and we can say, okay, but if it hits something again, it's probably going to be a problem here, I think. Let's say so. We check if we hit something, that means we can't move. Okay, but then we're like, okay, wait, before we don't move, let's just check the X alone, because that would cause us to slide on a surface, for instance, in the X direction. So we check there, and we get it true again. Maybe this should be false. It feels funny doing these. Nah, okay. So the collision course hits something, so we can't move any X. So here we say can't move in X direct in X, just either. So we have to check if we can move in Z. Okay, and then we pretty much do the same stuff, but just replace everything with a Z. So this is now move direction Z. This is 0F, and this is move direction dot Z. Okay, and then we use this guy over here. Okay, so our collision cost is now overwritten there, and then we can say if even our Z is hitting something, in that case our move direction is 0. Else we can make our move direction equal to our move direction Z, right? So basically what we're saying, oh no, we collided with something in the Z, so we can't move. Or we can still move in the Z. Okay. And then for this one, which checks for the... Okay, so we basically say... I'm just going to comment this because I am so not going to remember what the hell this is. Can't move in Z either. So can't move at all. Okay. And then this one is can move in Z. So move in Z. Yeah. And then this one is can't move in X. And we have the else here. Else can move in X, so move in X, and we basically do move direction equals move direction X. Okay. Okay, this should work sort of, but we're not checking inputs precisely. So there is a chance that the move... okay, now I already see the problem. We need to check. Okay, so here we check if there's a collision, right? There's no collision. If collision cost, so if there is a collision, and then right at the end we should also... Okay, so all this movement stuff should just work fine, because I'm changing the move direction based on whether or not we collide with anything. So it's either... Yeah, it'll go to 0 if we can't move in X or in Z. Otherwise, we can move at least in X and Z. There's just one problem, and that is if we don't have... I think this will work, actually. I'm thinking a problem might be that, for instance, if our move direction X, so if it checks this, and I didn't actually input an X direction, it might just say that, okay, this vector is 0, so that means the capsule cast is trying to cast in a 0 direction, which means it doesn't cast at all, I guess, and that would mean that the collision is false. So it would assume that we can move in the X, but the X direction is 0 anyway, so we're not going to move anyway. So this should work out, actually. So let's try it. Okay, now that's the other tutorial game. This is the game I've just been fiddling with. So let's see if this works. Okay, Knight, you're up. Okay, walk into a tree. Okay, you can't walk into a tree. Okay, let's see. If I move down, I can't. If I press X now, hey, look at that, I'm sliding. So I'm going up, and if I press left, it'll actually move a little bit. Now it's stuck in a corner, so now I need to go down. So, and then I press up, and I can get around the tree. And I can get around the tree. That's it. So, and I keep hitting... Oh no, thank you very much. Enjoy your meal. And enjoy the rest of your evening if you don't manage to come back before I go offline. Cheers, Let's test this against the wall over here. So, we kind of get stuck. But if I go up, it's not a problem. No, so diagonal walls are a little bit of iffy one. Yeah. So, but diagonal up is not a problem. It's diagonal down. So here I need to... Yeah, I get stuck in the corners there. Get off me! These lizards. Okay, this thing I should just move through. Yeah, because I don't have a collider with that. Okay, I can move around. Yeah, the collider for the trees are nice and round, right? So it's very easy to... slide on the tree. Oh, I actually died. They've done 500 damage. Okay, enough testing then. Ooh-wee. Hey, I got some more coffee. Okay, so collision works now. Cool. Let's go to my tick box and say collision is working. Now I want a way to destroy enemy camps. Okay, so I would guess that I need a building takes damage kind of function. So I have two ideas for this. Let's go to the building. So my two ideas were, you either need to destroy like the main buildings in the camp, or if you destroy the totem pole, they also stop spawning. So this is a way of getting the camp to stop spawning. And the idea is if you can stop all the camps spawning, you effectively then win the level, right? Because there's no more enemies coming at you. Well, you need to stop the spawning, and you need to also destroy the remaining enemies, obviously. I think I'm going to go with just destroying the totem pole. And the reason for that is, it just seems kind of unrealistic that somebody with an arrow you know, just a straightforward arrow comes and shoots at this big structure and it kind of destroys it, right? I mean, I know this is a game and this happens in games all the time, right? But I don't know. I think we don't need to destroy the buildings themselves. I think we destroy the totem pole. Right, we can say lore-wise, this pole is kind of it's magical in nature. It's got some enchantment or whatever, and it is causing these lizards to infinitely respawn. And it also empowers them, you know, making them even stronger every time they respawn or something like that, right? That's the lore. So it's not like there's literally infinite lizards. They just keep respawning. You can't ever kill all of them, right? And the reason for that is because this pole is empowering them. Okay, that's what this totem pole is for. It's like it's a magical object. Okay, the tents are just normal, right? They are where they live in normal circumstances. You know, it's not like this small little this 210 community can support 1 million lizards, but when in danger, this pole can basically make duplicates, and it empowers the lizards to fight off any enemies, right? Which is the chicken knight. So I'm gonna say this pole is gonna get, it's gonna get a script that allows it to get damaged, right? So so for the enemies, I just made this like a where did I put the script even? I think enemy take damage, right? Yeah. Enemy take damage, so I might just make a script that says enemy structure or yeah, I think something like that. Enemy structure take damage. Yeah, so let's create new, or we can just actually go to this thing and we can say add component, call it enemy, and structure. I'm just going to this enemy building take damage. Enemy building take damage, and we create a new script and we call it enemy building take damage, create and add. So this is now added to the totem. I hope I added it to the prefab and not just a random poll. Okay, well, we'll see how this goes. Oh, okay, it just opens VS Code because it's like that. Okay, let's go. Enemy building take damage. So currently it doesn't do anything. Okay, but I know I want like something like a void on, whoopsie, yeah, on, or a void on building hit, and it gets like a float in here, call it damage. Right, so that's pretty much how the enemies take damage, sort of, right? So if we go to our enemy take damage script, you see we have an apply hit. Okay, I guess I could enemy building take damage, apply building hit function, and we take int here. Oh yes, it needed to be int, right, for the damage number thing to work. We can always convert to a float if we need to, right? We made everything int, so that's right. I remember now. Okay, I guess we could just do this for now. So we need a little bit of a state, but I don't think I'm going to make a whole state machine. But I want this damage number thing to work. Okay, I just need to make sure. I think the damage number is prefab. I add it here somewhere. Yeah. So we need to add the damage number prefab if we want the damage numbers to appear. So we do that, and then we can pretty much do this. Okay, yeah, and we need the timer thing to work as well. Right, so we need the update function at least. And in the update function, so a lot of this is the same. No. So we need this to work. And we need can take damage and the timers, right? So all our timers need to be initialized as well, and then can take damage just needs to be set to true at the start here. So just a start function and make it true. Okay. Do we need this? Oops. Just gonna comment that out. I don't think I need the event. Honestly, I don't actually know why we actually have the event to start with. There was something with the damage. 3 references. Oh, it's for the sound effects. Okay. Yeah. Is it for the sound effects? Or I just do wait. I think we also and in the state machine is taking this damage. Yeah, but for the building, I think I'm just gonna do I'll do the sound effects from here. I'll just connect to the sound manager, I think, and I will do the state machine in this script as well, because I don't think I need that much stuff. Okay, let's take a drink, sip of the coffee. Okay. All my streaming stuff still working. Seems like it. Okay. So I think with this already, well, nothing will happen because we don't apply building hit at all. Right. So what we should do now, for instance, is we should go to the night attack trigger. Let's see. Yeah, so over here, hit enemies in attack zone function is triggered. And this is a bit annoying. So this is obviously triggered by the animator. And it basically just checks what is inside this sphere in front of our character, and it applies damage to them. So that's fine. Right, I like that. The problem is this. Our layer mask is supposed to be the enemy layer. Now, the building itself is in the walkable layer. Can I make it a walkable enemy? No, I cannot. Now, if I say that this thing can attack the walkable layer, then it could potentially attack just about everything in this whole place, because it's all on the walkable layer. So we need to maybe change the way our nav mesh works. And okay, let's see. Default area is walkable. Let's open area settings. Can we do multiple areas? Wait, can we do... Okay, that's default. Generate links, use geometry. Oh wait, we could do multiple here? So we have enemy and walkable as layers for this, for instance. So what I could do is not have walkable. Okay, let's try this. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to go into the enemy camp. Right, and I'm going to call that one, that can stay walkable. We're going to make a new layer. And we call it enemy building layer. Right. And effectively, this guy now needs to be assigned to the enemy building layer. Okay. Then we go to our nav mesh. Okay, and we rebake it. With walkable. Okay, let's just rebake it with walkable. That means they will walk through this thing now, but we can also bake it with enemy buildings. That's it. Okay, thank goodness. So now I could still... So all of the other stuff is still in a walkable layer. This is now an enemy building layer. So that means I can attack it. But I think my movement script is now going to be funny because it checks specifically for the walkable layer mask. Okay. Can I have multiple layers for a check sphere and such? So this is going to be interesting. So setting a layer mask. Add a layer to a layer mask. Let's see. To add a layer to a layer mask. Okay, so a layer mask. Every game object, layer. Okay, so we can set a layer mask. That's fine. That's what we've been doing. We have a layer and a layer mask equals. Okay, so I'm going to try this. So my theory is currently I will still be able to walk through the totem pole. Okay, because it's not on the layer mask, right? So let's just go and walk through it just to make sure that we can. You can take the robin here. So we walk into the tree, we can't. Okay, we run. I need to do. Okay, I can shoot stuff, that's fine. And I walk through that, but I still hit this. Yeah, so I can't walk through this thing. Yeah, so this thing's a problem for me. Okay, good. So I'm walking through this now. Let's see if I add a layer to a layer mask, if that works the way it says it does. So in player movement, it says layer mask, get mask for the walkable layer. Can I do walkable layer mask? Ah, okay. Someone knows. It knows because the or operator or equals to. I think it said that is how you add another mask, right? Yes, or equal to, and then I can either just put the layer, but I think I'm going to use the get mask function instead. And the layer I want to get, now this is a string obviously, so bear with me, I just want to see what actually enemy me bolding, no spelling errors, capitals. Okay, enemy bolding. So now I can't walk through totem poles or anything that's an unwalkable layer. Okay, let's try it. So we know that I could walk through the totem poles before. If the script has compiled, it did. Okay. And let's go with the ranger again, because she's nice and fast. Run. Run. I hit the totem pole. Fantastic. And I hit the buildings. So that's fine. And the totem pole is now baked into our nav mesh as well, so these guys, they won't try and run over it, right? That's good. Okay, let's just run. I just want to check the other totem pole just in case. Yeah, I can't run through it. I run into it, so that's fine. Just like these guys get out of hand quickly, hey? Okay, this is good. This is progress. Whew, stretching. Yeah. Let's take a sip of coffee. Okay, so now that that works, I can easily do damage. Because now, if we go to our knight attack trigger, for instance, we could call this function so let's copy this actually. So we do two things. We say enemy colliders and then enemy building colliders. So the layer is now not enemy layer, it'll be enemy building layer. Okay, so we just add another layer mask for this one. That seems not necessary. Should I split this? Not sure. Because I could just stuff it in there and make it part of this collider. Nah, let's split it. Let's split it. I don't know. It feels better to split this. So enemy building layer. And here we can do enemy building layers, get mask. Enemy building. I can't remember if it's plural or not. No, it's not plural. Just the enemy building. Okay, so we have two layer masks now. Just one for the enemy layer and then enemy building layer. And over here, we check for collision with the enemy building layer. Okay. Then for all the colliders in, so for every enemy building collider in that thing, we'll do enemy building collider. I think this is now enemy building take damage. Building take damage, and we do not apply hit, we do apply building hit. Apply building hit. Inaccessible due to protection. Okay, wait, so an enemy take damage. Oh, it is public. I made it. Oh, I didn't say anything yet. Public. My bad. Okay, so the knight can now trigger damage through to the building. Let's just save. Okay, so now already, if I go hit it, I should see the damage numbers pop up. Let's go have some damage numbers pop up. So only the knight should work at this point, right? Because the ranger... I need to go figure out why this thing runs immediately. But anyway, let's just ignore these guys. I can't run through this. Okay, let's see if I can damage it. I can't because there's an error. Null reference exception. Oh, I didn't include the... Oh, jeez. Yeah, so if we go back to our enemy camp, to our building, I needed to put the prefab in there. So my pop-ups, prefab, damage number, there we go. Okay, save. Let's try again. Select Chicken Knight. It's a bit hard to see, but it looks like it's working. Very good. Okay, so there's obviously some more things that we need to do. I think the next thing, maybe I just make it die, right? Okay. Yeah, okay. I need to make it destroyable, right? I want to check something over here. Okay, cool. Let's go make it destroyable. So I'm just gonna draw inspiration from the lizard, because I can't remember how I killed the lizard. The enemies, to be honest with you. I think it's in the state machine. So let's just see. Simple melee enemy. Animator attacks. No, okay, where the hell? Enemy. Okay, wait, I have an enemy state machine. Okay. So let's see. I track health here somewhere. Yeah, okay. Private int health. So I just have it in the script itself as a variable that gets tracked. And we just, when the variable is below some value, it's destroyed, yeah. Okay, let's do it like that. And I'm not sure if this is how I would like to do this forever, but for now it'll get the job done. So we want this to be an int, private int, that private int health, and we'll just initialize it to something higher, like 50. Okay. Okay, and then right here we just go health minus equal the damage, right? And then we should say if health less than 0, something should happen, right? So what we could do, use serialized field game object, and we can take in the good morning Frosty, or good day, because it might be a different time of day for you. Is Unity easy to learn than Godot? So I would say Unity is definitely harder. Objectively. So I started with Godot first, and it felt a little bit more intuitive, a little bit easier, especially the coding was easier. The documentation just kind of made more sense. The node system that Godot uses, I think, also simplifies like the structure of the game and stuff like that. So yeah, my opinion at this point is Godot is a little bit simpler. Unity can be easier to work with if you use certain types of assets, right? So for instance, let's say you're just into the coding thing. So first of all, the coding thing, if you just think about that. So this is C#, and Godot obviously has C#. You can use C#, but it also uses its own scripting language, GGScript, right? And GGScript is very similar to Python, right? So that also makes it kind of nice to work with, right? C#, whole different thing, right? So if you're used to Python or GGScript and you come to C#, you're gonna have to do some learning first, right? If you're already familiar with C#, then Unity shouldn't be that big of a deal. But assets. So in Unity, you can now, there's a massive asset library, things that people have built. Obviously, some of them you have to pay for, right? Some of the good ones, but they are built for Unity specifically, which is kind of nice because you could get rid of a lot of the work surrounding game dev that's not necessarily the code, right? So the code, that's pretty much your problem. You're gonna have to figure that out. But animations, maybe that doesn't have to be your problem, right? You could get an asset pack that has a bunch of animations. I think even you can use something like Mixamo. I think that's what it's called. And the animations that you get from there, pulling them into Unity just works. And that's 3D animations, right? Sorry about that. Built-in movement code. It might have. I don't know. I started with a Plank project. Like I've I haven't done so many things, but just to give you an idea. So I got a animation pack, right, from the Unity Asset Store. So I could just pull it in and it just works. So all the animations in my game is currently not even an anime. I can edit them a little bit if I want to, if I feel like it's a bit wonky. But if you look at any one of my characters, right? So let's just go to the knight, for instance. Where are you? So if you look at the knight and you tell it, you know, do an attack. Right, this whole animation, and I mean, just look at all these, all the keys, and look how many things we have to be moving, right? So every single little bone in this knight is obviously moving during an attack animation like this. And it's moving by small amounts, but this to me was super daunting. Like, look at this list. It's massive, and some of these have drop downs. Okay, the drop downs are not that hectic, but still, right? It's a lot, and then you have like 20 keyframes, and you're changing each of these values a little bit with every keyframe. So this was super daunting for me. And the animation pack I downloaded included this animation, obviously, but it also included a character controller, which meant I could just move these characters from the get-go. However, the way I wanted movement to work in my game, turns out that character controller was actually kind of fighting me a bit. Right, that character controller was basically like you were supposed to use it like an over-the-shoulder, third-person RPG style of game. And it worked kinda for me, but also didn't quite work for me because I also wanted to simplify it a little bit. That character movement code was very complicated and difficult to understand. Because you can imagine, you just download somebody else's code. It's already attached to a model. It works. It's animated. It's thousands of lines of code. You get a bug because you wanted to incorporate it in something, and now you don't understand what the hell is causing the bug, right? So I eventually just scrapped it and wrote my movement code from the get-go. What Unity does have, though, is it has a very nice input manager system. Right, I don't even know where this window went. It just kind of disappeared. So if you go here, where the hell? Window. I don't see it. I might be blind. Where is my input manager? No, man. It's impossible. I think I closed the window at some point, and now I don't see it. General. Flippin'. That's kind of interesting. I know I have the script here somewhere. Input. Let's search. Let's use these. Okay, this is just the game input script. That's not the one I wanted, really. Player input controller. Okay, this is just another script. Oh yeah, it is. Input systems. Yeah, okay, so this is what Unity generates for you, these input systems, right? And the input system you can pretty much just fiddle around here in a menu, but is it this one? Input presets? Yeah, for crying out loud. Why am I so confused? What's here? Okay, this is something else. Yeah, the scripts is what I code. Exactly. And I lost my input window. So if I ever want to add new inputs, maybe it's in panels. What the hell? Okay, well, one day I'm gonna have to find this again, because I do want to add inputs. I don't know how the hell I lost it. And why I can't seem to find it in the windows. This is kind of interesting. Input. I'm gonna have to go Google how to get back my inputs window. Unity. I lost my input window. Input action window is not appearing. Let's see. It's already driving somebody else nuts. I fixed it. Problem was the editor was... Oh? No, I don't think that's my problem. Add tab, maybe. No, can't find it. Ah, it's fine. I'll find it later. But yeah, you code all the script. There's some things that you don't have to code that much. For instance, and this is kind of a nice one, right? If you look at your nav mesh, this is a inbuilt Unity feature, right? So I made this whole surface the mesh for navigation, and it doesn't control the player, but I mean, look at this. I don't know if you've seen this. If I go and I take this ranger, you'll see these little lizards that follow me around. Right, here they come. These guys 100% uses the nav mesh. And I had to set it up like, just setting where they can walk, where they can't walk type of thing. But it was all done in the editor like this, visually. I didn't code a single thing for this. And they just work. And honestly, this is the kind of thing that I don't know if I would be able to do this. Or maybe I can, but it's going to be very difficult. You're going to have to be a pro coder, or at least do some serious tutorial watching to be able to make, this type of movement work. Because the thing is, they avoid obstacles, right? Look at them walking around a tree. They also don't bunch all up into one point, right? They don't walk on top of one another. They'll walk around this house or the tent. I choose which obstacles they avoid, obviously, so you'll see they walk just through some things and around other things. But I mean, that's incredible. The way I did this in Godot, or something like this, I pretty much yeah, in Godot I couldn't even do this. I had to make them pretty much just go to the player straight, and if they collided with something, I needed to do a physics calculation with physics like colliders and stuff like that. But the problem with that approach is it tanks your frames, right? Because physics calculations are very expensive. Whereas this navigation agent thing that Unity has, it might be expensive, but it's not as expensive as physics calculations. So I can already have way more little lizards running around without the game tanking in frames per second, right? This learning Godot is confusing. What about it is confusing though? Is it the node system or the code? Nodes and signals. Yeah. Yeah, the signal thing is crucial to understand, right? Once you grasp that, a lot of things become possible within the game. So you'll notice in Unity, there's a couple of ways. You don't need signals all the time. So there's a couple of ways you could do things across different different scripts or different game objects. Signals is definitely one of them, and I use them a bit. Yeah. So Unity, I don't know. Have you got any experience with C# in just in general, or are you learning to code while you're learning to? Oh, you have. Okay, but then you might already know how events work in C#. And you could just literally use the events. Okay. That makes it easier. If you're trying to learn programming while learning game dev, you're gonna struggle, right? Yeah, but so in Unity, I mean, if you looked at my scripts here, let's see which one has events, right? This one. So you'll see I created an event handler, and this is straight up C# event handler system. Yeah, you will smash your head. Yeah, you need to know at least a little bit of coding before you dive into game dev. That's for sure. Yeah, so the signal thing, I guess you could say this is a signal, right? But the event handlers, I use different. So you have a sender and a receiver, or a event that gets triggered, and then you have subscribers to the event in Unity or in C#, right? And these are not special Unity type things. These are C# events, right? So if you already have experience with C# events, you can just use them. You could also use Unity events. So a Unity event, let me get you a example of that. So here we have a bunch of Unity events, right? You can see they're called Unity events. Now the reason I use both is because this script actually came with those animations that I got, right? Because in your animation, so let's just look at our night again. If we open our night and we go look at like the attack animation, right? So we have what's called an event here during animations. So we have a hit event on attack 1 and a hit event on attack 2, right? This little tab over here. We actually have multiple events, but the hit event is one of the events that I use. You also have foot events, and they connect to the script over here. So you have your hit event, you have your foot events. So you have multiple events and signals and subscribers, right? But the animation has an event, and that event is basically connecting these functions straight to the animation. So when a certain thing in the animation happens, you can have this function run. And now currently this function, all it does is it invokes a Unity event, and then you can add subscribers and things like that to this Unity event. Or you can just run other functions and stuff here. So I literally have attack triggers and stuff like that, and my sounds play and all of that. I don't even trigger or invoke, they call it, the Unity event, because I don't need to. I can just straight from this function that's connected to the animation do all the things that I need. I could also use the Unity event, and I do. And this is kind of nice, because if you look at your, so if you go here, this is that script. So I attach the script over here. There's it, the warrior character animator events for the night. This is kind of nice. So those Unity events, they pop up in your inspector, right? So if you look at that, there's all the Unity events. And now, literally what you can do is you can just add things in here. So we can have an object. So I could, and this is literally just me clicking on the object here, dragging it in there, right? And then once the object is dragged, I can select from this drop down what I want to do. So this specific object has some objects attached to it, right? So it's an object with other objects or classes inside of it. And you can now run any one of these functions, if they are public, that are associated with this polygon / object. Or I could just run stuff for the object specifically, like make it active or inactive, like, you know, make it invisible or whatever. I could even move it, stuff like that. So that's pretty cool. I kind of like this system. So this is Unity's inbuilt event system, but you can mix them, right? There's no reason not to mix them. If the normal C# events make more sense to you, go ahead and use them. If Unity events are kind of useful for you, go ahead and use them. Right, the Unity events seem for me a little bit, they're very straightforward if you want to do something within one like character, right? So the animator affects the character itself. Then it's super straightforward to just use Unity events. And they make intuitive sense, right? When I started, I didn't know how Unity events worked, so that's why I actually used C# events exclusively for quite a while, and then when I was doing the animations and this came with it, I was like, maybe I could try this, and then I figured it out, and it's actually kind of nice. But I still only use it for the animations. I haven't started using Unity events anywhere else. So for all the other stuff, I still use C# events, and then animations, Unity events. So yeah, that's my thing. Okay, let's continue. I hope that helps you out. At least somewhat. Okay, what are we doing here again? Okay, we're setting... Can take damage equals to true at the start here. Wait, what? What is this thing complaining about? Member modifier private must precede the member type and name. Didn't I just do the same? Okay, you know what? Start. I'm pretty sure I didn't even make this function. It just kind of did it automatically. Oh, okay, wait. I was busy with this. That's right. I was busy setting up my game object. So, what game object am I sitting in here? Oh yes, I wanted to, when health is 0 or less than 0, I wanted to say make the enemy spawn point. I want that inactive, so we can make this enemy spawn point, right? And it's serialized, so we can do that. So we just set here enemy spawn point dot set active false, so we just disable it. And even here, when we are trying to apply the hit, we need to do that only if we can take damage, right? So we have to check that. And also, so then if health is less than 0, we need to... Can take damage is equal to false. So if it is false, we have the timer. Okay, we need another boolean. Just call it private bool is destroy. Okay, let's call it building is destroyed. Okay, building is destroyed, and we can start with building is destroyed as being false, so it's not destroyed. Okay, and we can only run this if building is not destroyed. Okay, so not building destroyed. So if the building is not destroyed, we can have the timer run. If it's destroyed, we don't even do that. So here we go. Building is destroyed equals true. There we go. So when health is 0, building is destroyed is true, so we don't reset the take damage thing. Can take damage. So it's false, so it can't take more damage. And it also cannot reset itself to true anymore. There we go. So now I just need to add in the spawn point over here. So we go here, we go to our enemy camp prefab, and we look for our totem. So in our totem, we need to drag in the enemy spawn point. So enemy spawn point, go there. So this point will be disabled once we reach 0 health. Good, good. Okay, we save, we play. Okay, wait. Before we do that, I want this to be easy. So let's go to scriptable objects over here. And we can make the knight's damage. Let's make it 20 so that it only takes like 3 shots to disable. Let's make it 15. So it takes 4 shots to disable this thing, right? Two attack cycles. Okay, so the knight will now have more damage, so let's go for it. Let's see what this knight does. Okay, knight, let's go. Okay, that's the bug. Okay, what's also kind of fun is since I'm doing more damage, I should have a higher knockback force. So I'm smacking these guys and they're flying across the screen. But let's see. So the totem, it is destroyed. Look, it stopped with the spawning. So now we can run to the other one. We just follow this line of lizards. So obviously we need to add nice effects or something to indicate that it has been destroyed. Because currently it just kind of stops something. It doesn't do anything else. It also doesn't play any sound effects, so I want to fix that as well. We can destroy the remaining lizards. And that's it. All the lizards are dead and all the camps are destroyed. Okay. So we've reached a point where we have something that looks like the end of the game. Potentially. Right? So if we go back to our checklist for today. Let's see. Make camps destroyable. So they can be destroyed. But so they can be deactivated, let's say. So we need to add here add effects. So visual and sound when hitting or destroying the totem poles. Right, because it's only the totem pole that we are destroying, because that is the magical thing that causes these lizards to spawn in these massive waves, right? Okay, cool. And I think when I do that, that should be nice. And then we should probably at that point start thinking about this whole levels and progression and stuff like that. Or we can move into designing and implementing a new character also. So maybe a wizard or a different enemy. Okay. That all sounds very good. But unfortunately, we have reached the end of the stream. I need to go get ready for work, basically. Because it's early in the morning here. It's 6:45 right now. So, day's going to start. People are going to start expecting things from me. So I need to get ahead of that and get ready and all that stuff. So thank you so much for watching. Thank you for joining. Thank you for chatting. I hope I helped you guys out. And you helped me out by being here. It keeps me motivated, keeps me going, keeps me progressing on this game and the development of it. Right? Because it's a lot of work. And any motivation I can get, I will take it. So thanks for joining, and I will see you guys tomorrow, same time, right? Every day, same time, getting about 2.5, 3 hours worth of coding and development work in. Cheers.